Okay, let's create some simple level and demonstrate the animation possibilities in the editor. So here we have a ground structure as a starting point for our level, and then we can create a line at the end here, so at a certain height, and then we may want to create this one here, and also we want the player to be able to reach that point, and that's of course possible using the magnetic abilities of the ship, like that. So that's fine, but maybe we want to create something like an elevator for another height that is not reachable using the jump. So suppose this is at this height, and then we can create kind of an elevator like thing, and the grid mode is not on yet, so let's do that. So we want to be able to add objects so they are snapped to the grid, so this is aligned. And let's check, this one is also aligned. Just move it and it will automatically snap, so there you go. And then we can select the object we want to use as an elevator. Go to the animation menu, which is a yellow color. So yellow has to do with animation. As you can see here, the stop and start or play button for the simulation is also yellow. And in the simplest option, so the level 1 complexity, we have these two options. This one is move as a line and the other is move as a circle. So we'll start by moving as a line, and if I now click and then drag, then we see you can create the animation like that. And as you can see, it doesn't really align here. So let's, in grid mode, select and then move, and then like that it is aligned. So this is a simple example of moving the object along a line. And then we can play test it, of course, by using the controller or the keyboard to see if it's actually working in our game. So that's the one of the simple options you can use to animate things. It's moving along a line. And this is just an example for a simple singular object, but we can also move multiple objects along a line. So let's try that, and let's create a structure. In the create menu we can, for instance, create this rectangular base here, and then put something else on top like that. And maybe we want to create some other things, like a rotating round shape. This is just a simple example, and then we can, in the transform menu, we can move this. So now we have a very simple structure, but it consists of multiple objects. And then we can select these, in this case are only 3 objects. And again go to the animation menu. It's already selected moving, animate along a line. I can click and drag and then can animate it like this. And then you can see moving multiple objects along a line is also something you can do in the editor. So that's just a very basic example. Of course, you can create more complex structures, and there are also more advanced options to control how the movement is done. This is in the properties menu. You can select objects and then you can adjust the properties. So let's select, for instance, this one here, and then we have in the animation menu, so these are all different categories of things you can change, like for instance transformation. You have the angle of the object, and then you can reset it, and size and stuff like that. But in this case we're interested in animation, and because we are in complexity level 1 we only see animation speed. But let's just try that one. So I can make it move faster or slower by adjusting this parameter. I can reset it to its default like that. So that's a level 1 option for animation. But let's see what happens if we go to level 2 complexity. And again go to the properties. Then we see some other options in the animation. So one of the interesting ones is the equation. So it's now in ease in bounce, and there are a lot of different modes you can choose from. So this is one is ease in cubic, elastic. It's like that, and take some time maybe to get used to what are all the options and how do they move. So there's a utility menu here below, but that's only available in the highest complexity setting. So let's just go there for here you can see all the options that you have and how the movement will be. So you have, suppose you want to have like ease in, out, bounce. It means that at the start and at the end it will bounce. And same with elastic. So you have all kinds of different options, and they all have in, out, or in, out. So in, out will have both. So then the bounce, for instance, is applied to the beginning as well as the end. So that's something you can change. And let's just use this one for now. Then we have direction back and forth. There are a couple of options. If you choose back, then it will only move in one direction. Back one time, it will only do it once. Back and forth. That's the default. Back and forth one time, and it will stay. It should stay, but doesn't work. And forth is the other way around. So these are a couple of options. and paused, it will not do anything. So the default is, in this case, probably what we want. Let's go back to level 2 complexity. And then we have sound name. So here you can specify the sound name and the sound type. So sound type, let's see what the options are. None, there's no sound. Start, it means it will play a sound at the start of the animation, and it will play a sound at the end of the animation, and both will play a sound at the start and the end, and then we can choose here from certain sounds. So as you can hear, if you want, you can add a sound, but the default is that there's no sound. And so these are all the options in the level 2 complexity. And then we have also level 3, which adds, for instance, this one, the engine. An engine is probably more useful if we create a vehicle, so let's do that later, and I can demonstrate what that is doing. And the group is something, if you have multiple objects, then they have to belong to the same group. And also offset is also applies to when you animate multiple objects. So to demonstrate engine, let's create some kind of a vehicle. And then we have, for instance, wheels. We want it to have wheels, like create this one here. And deselect everything, select this wheel. Maybe duplicate it in a certain direction, like this. And let's see, create a very simple vehicle. This is not yet working because you cannot overlap, but it's easy to fix by creating like that. And it would be nice if the wheels are in front, so then we can change the properties of this object, and there's something called depth. And that should be in visual. Here's the depth. So if you make this deeper, then you'll see the wheels are in front of the vehicle, and we may want to add some more to make it more interesting, like create a line here and then move this one snapped to a grid. That's not working because the transformation is not really aligning. So like this, I adjusted the size, and what else do we want? Like something like this. And then want to have this behind the other one, so make it even deeper. And maybe move it freely. It's just playing around. You can make it more interesting, of course. And then we will select this combination of objects, and we want to have the wheels as well. So we should have 6 objects here. This is okay. And then we can animate this along a line. So again, animate along a line, starting point, and then moving it from here to there. And there you can see we've got a moving vehicle. And let's pause this for a moment and go to the properties. So this one, if we look in the animation menu, you see this one is the engine. If I deselect it and select another one, this is not the engine. This is not the engine. So the engine is actually the object which does the animation, and all the other ones are following it. So if the engine object would get destroyed, then the others will no longer move. So normally if you have a group of objects, then one of them is the engine and they all have the same group name. And you can also change that group name into a more readable format. So now all these objects are grouped together using this name. And because this big block is moving, the others move along with it. And you see that the wheels are of course also moving, and that is because they have by default a special setting. And that's, I guess, in physics, or is it in transformation? It is in transformation menu. So it's rotate by velocity. So if you have rotate by velocity, then it does what it says. The velocity makes it rotate. And sometimes you want to have this reverse, and you can click this one as well. For instance, if the wheels are running a line along a line on top. But this option is actually used more with animation along a circle. So animating along a line, I guess these are this is the most basic options, and also the more advanced options using the properties. So that's it for now for animation along a line. Animation along a circle will be covered in another video.